Rankings. Okay, I think we can start now. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, it is a great pleasure for me to welcome you to the webinar of today, keeping up the pace with the development of the Chinese outbound tourism, especially new online information and marketing sources for Chinese outbound tourism. My name is Wolfgang Georg Arlt. I'm the director of COTRI, and today I have the great pleasure to have with me two friends and colleagues, Roy Graf, who is the managing director for EMEA of Dragon Trail Interactive, and Christopher Ledsham, who is the chief communication officer of COTRI. So let us start by have a quick look at the China Outbound Tourism update. Before then, we will go to over to Roy, who is actually sitting in London while we are here in Hamburg, Germany. And Roy will talk about the travel digital media channels, WeChat, and beyond. And after that, Chris will tell us something about the way to prepare for the Chinese customers. So whereas Roy will talk about how to get your message across to the Chinese so that they will come and visit your place and using your services, Chris will talk about how to prepare yourself so that these visits to your place are enjoyable for the Chinese customers and profitable for you. So obviously, most of you will be aware of the fact that China is by far the biggest international tourism source market in terms of border crossings and also in terms of spending. So we had, according to COTRI numbers, 137 million border crossings from mainland China. UNWTO recently published 135, so we are not far away from that. And according to our numbers, we estimate that more than 222 billion US dollars was spent by Chinese international travelers last year. UNWTO published even a higher number of 261 billion US dollars. So that's quite serious money. And it's worthwhile that you are joining this webinar. What is the new development is that in last year, 2016, for the first time we saw that less than half of the trips ended in Greater China, so which is Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan. So more than half of the trips went to other places. So you can see on this chart here, the red part of the column is Greater China, whereas the blue, which you can see has been going down a bit the last 2 years, but the blue one, the rest of the world, has still been nicely increasing. So according to our numbers, we had 66.7 million trips to Greater China, but 70.1 million trips to the rest of the world. And this also takes the sting out of the bad news. I think many people have been really shocked when they heard that the growth rate fell to only about 3% after we have been enjoying double-digit growth for many years. But this is actually because the trips to Greater China fell by about 5%, whereas the trips to the rest of the world still grew by about 12%. So, and our forecast is that that will be maybe go down a little bit according to how the international scene will develop. Terrorism, unfortunately, is a topic we have to factor in here, but still, I think we think we will be at 10% or so. And looking at the first 2 months of 2017, which of course has been the time of the Chinese New Year, so-called Spring Festival, so we can see that the Hong Kong decrease has been arrested, so there was actually 1% growth. Macau even growing by 6%, but Taiwan, and if you look at the latest figures for March, it continues that Taiwan is really suffering from the more or less ban for package tourists, for groups from China to go to Taiwan, so only individual travelers currently traveling. So who are the winners? The winners are smaller destinations, many of them doubling the increase in arrival numbers. So Iceland, saw more than double the arrivals than the year before. Israel and many other places having more than 50% growth rates year on year in 2016. Smaller countries like Austria, Finland, Fiji, Georgia, Serbia, the Philippines, Vietnam, and so on. So we can see that the trend to go not only beyond Greater China, but also to go to new destinations, smaller destinations, is continuing. So, and it is not only that Chinese outbound tourists now go to more places, giving opportunities to more places and also destinations within the country, like I think today we have some people from the United States. Welcome to joining us, so that also within the United States there are many areas, not so many Chinese tourists have been going to until now. So that this idea to go to new places, to go beyond California, Nevada, New York City is increasing. And also what people want to do is that they want to have not just photos and shopping, but that they look for authentic experiences. A lot is connected to nature, to unspoiled, unpolluted nature, or also to things like skiing or visiting wineries and so on. So there are a lot of different niches, a lot of different opportunities. What is still true for almost all Chinese outbound tourists is that they are money rich, but they are time poor. So everything has to be done in a compact way, and no empty spaces, no empty times should be there. Another, just one more point, which I think to point out, which is very important, is that the demographics are changing. So we used to be all telling, okay, this is the Baling host, the dueling host, so the people born between, let's say, 1980 and 2000, which is a vast majority of Chinese outbound tourists. But what we see is now that on the one hand, we have more children, so you could call them the Ling Ling hosts, so people born after 0 year, after 2000, either going with their parents, or they go on, if they go to a posh school, they go on a school trip. And on the other end of the scale, you have the older people, the best agers, let's say, 60+ years old, who are more and more joining now the ranks of international travelers. These people eventually having a little bit more time to spend, and many of them having a lot of international travel experience already before. So actually there's one study from Tunio, one of the big outbound travel agencies, and they said that for their customers, both for the customers below the age of 18 and for those above 55 years of age, for each of these categories, they had almost double to 90% plus in bookings. So this is all to give you just an update what is happening. And with this, I would be handing over to Roy in London. So Roy, if you can please take over and talk about travel digital media channels, WeChat and beyond. Roy, please.
Hello there. Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody can hear me okay. So I will be going through a short introduction to a short introduction to the digital landscape in China. I think everybody has heard about WeChat, but what I think is important to understand is A, how you can leverage WeChat as an entity or an organization or company outside of China, and B, what other platforms are out there to help you reach the Chinese consumers as well as the Chinese travel trade with your message, with your service, and your products. My name is Roy Graf. I am working with for Dragon Trail Interactive. We are sorry, I'm trying to control the presentation, and okay. And Dragon Trail Interactive is a leading travel technology and marketing agency, and we are focusing only on the Chinese outbound tourism trade. So it's very, very niche. We have 3 offices in China and an office in London, and we work with tourism boards, regional tourism boards, national tourism boards, large airlines, cruise lines, and hotel chains, as well as tour operators, and helping them reach the Chinese consumers, as well as we developed a range of B2B products and packages that help you reach the Chinese travel trade. Now, some of our clients include Destination Canada, German Tourism Board, Thailand, Sweden, the European Tourism Commission, as well as destinations, attractions, museums, car hire, airlines, etc. And I'm going to give you just a quick snapshot of the digital landscape in China. If the slides take some time to load, it's just about the connection. But basically, every 60 seconds in China, there are 486 public articles published on WeChat. Alipay transacts more than 15 million renminbi. You've got, as you can see here on the slide, a huge number of user-generated content that is published every second in China. And this is a very crowded marketplace, very competitive, a lot of players. This is just a snapshot of some players, but there are many, many others. And to navigate that, you really need somebody that understands and breathes and eats this stuff on a daily basis. What is very unique about China is that mobile is really key to marketing and distribution. There are 700 million smartphone users in China. Pretty much all of the internet users also use smartphones. And half of all of China, that's over 700 million people, are online, are on the internet. Social media is very popular, especially Weibo and WeChat. And 90% of internet users have at least one social media account. Most of them have multiple social media accounts, and they use and access them through mobile, through smartphones. Just to emphasize the importance of mobile in China as opposed to, say, in the West, people spend more time on their mobile phones compared to the global average. They use a range of tablets and smartphones, and typically the smartphones in China have a larger screen size compared to the West. And the reason people use mobile so much is oftentimes because the commute in China is very long. People spend a lot of time in buses and underground and trains, and therefore access the internet and access information through their mobile device. As a result of that, also mobile payments, both micropayments and larger payments, are growing very fast, and platforms such as Alipay and WeChat Pay are becoming increasingly very popular and are a very convenient way for people to pay, even for regular kind of offline transactions. For example, people are now used to using Alipay or WeChat Pay when they go to the supermarket, when they go to the corner shop, when they even go to buy their dumplings. They can pay with that rather than using cash. Now, people tend to go to the web to research travel, and they often use applications, so apps, mobile apps, to research, plan, and book travel. There's been a large growth in the usage of mobile for researching and booking travel, and what we definitely perceive in China is that people really need to trust the source of the information, and they often plan their trips based on what they know from friends and family, and then after that, what they hear and what they see from people that they trust or they follow. So that could be celebrities, trusted brands, travel shows. Essentially, it's all about the trust factor. So word of mouth, whether it's offline or online, is especially important. This is just an example of a typical intrepid traveler, somebody who travels independently, and that is now about 50% of the outbound trips taken out of China. And in terms of like how do they get their inspiration and their travel planning and booking process. Now, we start from the top with reading travel articles and following travel-related accounts on WeChat, as well as reading what friends and relatives are posting and sharing from their trips. That will take this typical person, this is actually an actual person that shared with us their travel habits. They would go to a travel review and planning site, as an example, Mafangwo, select the destinations and the kind of hotel or attractions they want to go to, and then do some search online and book through an online booking platform. Whilst they're at the destination, they will share their pictures and experiences and do check-ins on WeChat, and that will be shared with their friends, who would then basically get inspired to book their own trips. We know from research that has been conducted that people really value direct sources of information. And the closer that they can get to the real source, the better it is. So you need to basically make sure you have an official website that provides the most relevant and authentic information, as well as provide us information through social media, blogs, WeChat, etc., as well as the ability to book and pay through mobile applications. That is relevant for a lot of operators and transportation companies, cruise lines, etc. Less irrelevant and less important to Chinese travelers are basically travel agency websites and other activities that are outside of the official channel. Now, we talked about digital word of mouth earlier, and it's just very important to emphasize that point. When we have users sharing actively on their travels, that is something that gets retweeted, reposted, and shared amongst larger networks. An example that we posted here on the left side is a hotel in Iran that, despite having no website at all and no information in Chinese available, only through word of mouth and sharing the details and the address of the hotel, they were able to reach 50% of their total room nights booked with Chinese guests, just because they were, somebody quite influential with a lot of followers has shared and recommended that hotel. So never underestimate how important it is to connect with the customers while they're traveling and generate referrals through happy customers. Now, people tend to mostly prefer WeChat and QQ, as well as Weibo as platforms to share. But there are also other travel review sites that we'll cover a little bit later, and other travel sites like Tunar and Ctrip, where people post a lot of information about their trips. So what are some of the major social media channels that people use to connect, and where you should be to reach directly to the consumers? Weibo is one of the original social media platforms in China. While it has gone through a certain decline and over-commercialization and a bit of took a hit to its reputation because of a lot of zombie or phony accounts that were added to it, it has improved a lot in recent months, largely thanks to introducing live streaming and the ability to post short videos. These are separate apps that Weibo owns, but that integrate seamlessly with Weibo. And the live streaming especially has been very effective. So it's still it's an open platform as opposed to WeChat, which is a closed platform, which means that anybody can see what you post there, whether they follow you or not. And that can be quite important, especially when you're doing advertising. WeChat, by contrast, is, as I said, is a closed platform. And it includes a lot of different functionalities within one app. It's actually a mini operating system in itself. It allows the advertiser or the profile owner, so a public profile owner, to engage directly with consumers, to have to build a loyal fan base, to create customer service, as well as generate word of mouth through enabling sharing. So originally it's a communication channel for peer-to-peer communication, like WhatsApp, for example, but it has a lot of social streaming and a wall where people can share the information with their friends. And beyond that, it can then create it has applications for paying, for ordering taxis, for doing your laundry, etc., etc. So. At the moment, WeChat is the most used app in China. There's about 900 million active users, and it is not showing any signs of going down. It has monopolized the mobile social landscape, and there are over 12 million official accounts that are both individuals and brands, which means that it's a great place to get noticed, but also a hard place to get noticed. And what I want to show you next is some of the ways in which you can get noticed on WeChat. Now, since WeChat is only mobile and only on smartphones, it tends to be reached by and engaged by affluent Chinese travelers. So basically, everybody that is traveling would have a smartphone and would have WeChat account. Now, you can provide various services through an official account that you cannot do it as a personal user, which basically will provide additional services to the users. And you can also post articles, newsletters, etc., to disseminate and provide information. One of the things that WeChat really helped popularize in China is the use of QR codes. They're not really much used in the West, but in China, everybody's now used to using them to reach directly into deep links, to share information, and also to pay. So how can you leverage as a brand the WeChat environment to reach customers? So there's multiple ways, and we don't have a lot of time to go through everything in great detail, but I'll be happy to discuss that with you later on, specifically relevant to your case. So one way is through brand awareness campaigns. So introducing a brand, you can run advertising campaigns and competitions. Another is, again, is creating well-designed interactive games and activities that will lead fans to engage with you, to provide their customer details, and to follow you. A third way is provide customer service. You can automate that by creating automatic text replies and provide users with specific information relevant to them, as well as directly communicate through questions and answers, as well as audio recordings and audio communication. So essentially, it can replace your customer service. And finally, by B2B trade communication, providing a dedicated trade channel where travel agents can receive packages, offers, and engage with you, as well as give them additional information about itineraries and other products. One example is that of Canada that we've worked with for many years. They run active campaigns on WeChat, and content is often the winner here. And if you've got really good content that people want to share, you would find that engagement is going to be very high. And other campaigns, for example, this is one that we worked with on Visit Europe, that allows people to engage and interact in a game environment, create, basically get information from the user about their preferences and likes and dislikes, and then match them with a destination that they would basically click with. And again, this campaign has resulted in a lot of page views and interactions. As I mentioned, customer service, that is a very, very important part of WeChat. It's something that shouldn't be ignored. People do expect quick replies, so they don't really care if you're not in the same time zone. It's important that you can reply to them as soon as they ask a question. But again, you can automate a lot of that and share back with users both text replies as well as images, maps, etc., to help them with their inquiries. So that kind of automated reply system is something that can be set up using the APIs that WeChat provide to developers. If anybody has questions, by the way, just type them in, and I will answer the questions at the end of the seminar, at the end of the webinar. Now, when it comes to payment, that's another aspect of WeChat, as well as other platforms that can offer that. But that is something that you can basically help to monetize your services, and as well as add-ons, so value-added items and services. And this is especially relevant for hotels that are and attractions, selling extra activities, selling tickets, etc. So that's something that you'll need to integrate through a payment portal, but it is worth doing if you expect a lot of offline payments from Chinese visitors. Now, knowing how you rank and how you work and how you basically perform on WeChat is extremely important. We at the moment, since the beginning of the year, have been running and announcing weekly rankings of the top 20 tourism boards, destination marketing organizations, cruise lines, and airlines, looking at how their activity on WeChat performs as, and benchmark against other activities. So when you we publish that through Twitter and our blog, and we basically provide this information publicly. Now, it's important to look at engagement rather than just the total follower number, because you can have a lot of followers, but they're not necessarily that engaged or interested in what you publish. And what we do is we look at an aggregate of the viewers, the average views per post, as well as the engagement and people's shares and comments on individual posts. To stand out on WeChat with such a crowded environment, you have to have extremely good content that is relevant, which means don't just translate what you've created in other markets, but write content that is specific to your users on China, in China and on WeChat. Take the time to study those users, understand what they like, what they don't like, what will engage them. And obviously, a good agency on the ground can help you with that advice. Engage with the right kind of influencers, key opinion leaders that really have an affinity with your brand, your destination, or your service. And use WeChat advertising effectively with a strategic campaign. WeChat advertising is relatively new and still developing, so it needs some good strategy around that, but it's also important to leverage word of mouth and existing visitors to your destination, product or service, and generate more kind of exposure through that. So that can be a combination of QR codes and leaflets and posters, and encouraging people to follow you on WeChat and share pictures and information with their friends. One way to do that is to offer free Wi-Fi and make sure that when people link into your free Wi-Fi, they also can see your WeChat account and follow you. Apart from WeChat, there are other social media platforms all over China for news reading, for live video streaming, for video sharing, picture sharing, and really a lot of them are, would still have about 50 to 100 million followers, which sounds like a lot, but in the context of China maybe it's not, but it still can be the right platform for you because there's less competition on it, and sometimes a combination of these platforms with an account on WeChat that you can eventually drive people to is a smart way to run your marketing strategy for China. When it comes to B2B, that's really a strategy that a lot of destinations and operators start with because it is again a more defined market, easier to reach, and therefore more can be less costly in the short term. We do offer various products and services to reach the travel trade, and it's important to really understand that even travel agents now use WeChat more than anything else. And if you want to reach them, you still need to be on WeChat. Email is really pretty much dead in China. Hardly anybody uses official email accounts. They usually go through free email services, and there's a lot of spam, so people just got turned off email. As a result, using social media, using WeChat is going to be really a much more effective way to reach them, much faster, and a much more responsive way to do that because people can respond to you right away and you'll see their response. One of the ways in which you can create engaging opportunities to work with the travel trade through WeChat is by creating specially designed WeChat accounts with the ability to share packages, even create a portal and directory of different service providers in your destination. That's something that we've developed for a number of destinations, and there are a few case studies available on our website, and also if you contact me I can share that with you. But essentially that gives you a lot of insights also in what people actually click on, what they use, what they like, and what they share, and it also gives the travel agents the opportunity to take a package that you've shared with them and automatically send that to all of their clients through WeChat. There is a special package called the China Travel Academy, which is essentially a mobile-first, WeChat-centered training and certification platform. So it's a destination training, which allows you to create a very focused training program that the travel agents can complete at their own time and complete it entirely on their mobile. Which means they can do it also off hours on their commute, and then when they complete it, get a certification to show that they are basically studied and they are knowledgeable about the destination. And a number of city, country level tourism boards have already done this and are seeing great results from that engagement. So I'd like to finish here with this presentation, and I do have a number of questions people have asked so far. We've got them all kept, so what we'll do is we'll go on to the next section of the presentation from Chris, and then answer all of your questions in the time that we have left. Thank you very much.
Okay, and thank you very much, Roy, for your presentation there. And as he said, if you have any questions about any part of the webinar so far, they will all be answered at the end. So please just keep asking them, and we'll get to them at the end of my presentation just coming up right now. So it's one thing to tell your Chinese tourists about your destination, but the next part is actually what to do when they come there, how to tailor services to them, and how to make them feel well when they actually arrive. So, my name is Chris Ledsham, and I'm Chief Communications Officer here at COTRI, China Outbound Tourism Research Institute, and I will be talking to you today about the CTW Chinese Tourist Welcome online training program, which has been developed using the CTA China Travel Academy platform that Roy was just showing you right at the end there. So, as I said, I work here with Professor Arlt, who spoke to us at the beginning. And again, any questions you have about his part or my part, we will answer shortly at the end here. So, why should people get Chinese Tourist Welcome Certified? So via our training program, this is the certification that people will be able to access just as they do in our face-to-face training programs. So why to do these programs? Well, since in 2016, more than 200 billion US dollars was spent by more than 136 million Chinese outbound tourism trips worldwide. The Chinese, of course, have well established themselves as the #1 both spenders and tourists in terms of absolute numbers. And of course, as these numbers are continuing to grow, the market itself is maturing, the travelers are becoming more experienced, and no longer are they simply just looking to get off the bus and take pictures of different destinations. They're actually developing their tastes as well. So it's important for us overseas to learn how to capture that and best serve them as possible. So this is where the training comes in. So the CTW training actually looks at the conditions of Chinese outbound tourism as it is at the moment. It's frequently updated, and this therefore allows participants to gain an understanding of where the market's at and apply it to their work at this very minute. So even if you have been in the Chinese tourism industry for a number of years, or you're just doing it for the first time, you get brought right up to speed about what's going on now, having learned the entire background of what's going on. So you get practical techniques, and you actually can learn from the best practice examples of what others have done before you. So this program, of course, puts you at the forefront and allows you to successfully adapt the products that you've been working with, and it's already been recommended, a face-to-face version that has existed for a number of years by part of Pacific Asia Travel Association, the European Travel Commission, and of course it's received the Great China Welcome Charter Mark of Visit Britain. So the online version, the recent adaptation we've made of this using the Dragon Trail CTA software, this now allows you to have exactly the same training that you would have typically got in a face-to-face one-day session. Now, in your own mobile phone, in the office, on your desktop, on an iPad, it's available to you anywhere where you need it. So this costs €188, and of course, there are discounts available for 2 or more participants. So the advantages, of course, of doing the online version of the training is you get exactly the same CTW quality host certification that is already recognized worldwide, but this time you can actually, instead of having to take a whole day out of your working schedule, you can just fit this around your normal life. So you can learn a little bit at home, in your office, during the morning commute, and you actually get the opportunity to learn at your own pace. While you're studying, you can look at the external examples that are involved, you can make notes, you can really take the time to engage and take this on as a full self-study program. The contents, of course, are fundamentally and importantly exactly the same as what you receive in a face-to-face training, but you're getting a few extras as well. So this helps you compensate for not having the trainer face-to-face with you, and also allowing you to have the same level of engagement. So you simply get an introduction, 4 main modules, and a final test. These modules themselves are, as you can see in the image here, subdivided into different themes too. So in our first module, we establish the background, and we provide those up-to-date statistics that we've been talking about before. So as you can see here, the same statistics that we spoke about at the beginning of this webinar, you get this as part of your training. So you get right up to speed on what's going on now from the very first moment, and this is kept updated regularly. This way, the training actually reflects what's going on in the market currently, and this means it keeps fresh, and people, even just training for the very first time, get fully up to speed on what's going on. So this then moves on to a second module where we move a little bit deeper into looking inside to the mindset of Chinese outbound travelers, and we contextualize this within Chinese culture itself. This actually allows you then, when working with Chinese outbound travelers, to get an idea about how they think and why, and this then of course will help you in your own work to understand problems that are going on and avoid culture clashes and work with that and build forward. So we've got, of course, issues such as flexibility, the Chinese mindset when it comes to patriotism and individuality within a group context. In the third module, we work more with language creating an ambience, and general service, very more practical tips that you can do. So this helps you yourself create a welcoming atmosphere, and this can really help you build on the products that you have and start really developing your ideas with your own work on how you can then think, okay, this is how I'm going to learn to adapt my products. Finally, the fourth module touches on a lot of the issues we've already spoken about today in the webinar, where we're looking at up-to-date online and offline marketing techniques relevant to the field as a whole. So this, of course, is provided with extra examples that you can actually now take your time to really study and help develop your own strategies, since you're able to do this at your own pace, anywhere you wish. So, of course, in this field, with the market developing so rapidly, this is going to be updated frequently as well. So again, you're being brought right up to speed to the latest things going on in the market, so even beginners can become advanced users very quickly. So again, one of the key points I touched on before is that since you're not having a trainer with you there face-to-face, we've provided a lot of extra written material that can help you contextualize what you're talking about and what you're reading, what we're understanding. So this, of course, makes up for the not having a trainer there face-to-face in the room, and boosts your own engagement with the material. So you're really contextualizing what you're reading, paying attention to it, and learning and seeing how this fits in with what's being done around the world. So this, of course, is not just written material, but also video material, as you can see here. And again, this can help really put into context some of these more unusual ideas that you might have not come across so far, such as these electronic payment solutions, which not everyone has seen, of course, in the West. So a key part of this, of course, is the assessment. Not only do we have the multiple choice assessment that we spoke about earlier, where we need to pass a test to actually get the certification to be a CTW quality host, but also to keep you engaged, keep you on your toes while you're learning. We're just giving you a few little quizzes on the way to make sure you're understanding and you're, you know, working well with text. So each module is broken down into 2 mid-module self-tests and an end-of-module quiz of 5 questions that make sure you can really even keep up with yourself, knowing how you're going with that. So finally, what's important is, of course, this training comes with a free demo. And if you wish to scan the QR code that you can see here or has appeared on any of the slides so far, you can actually try this out for yourself and get an idea of how it works. For extra information, of course, you're more than welcome to visit our website. This is all here, where, of course, you will also find the demo. And we're also happy to answer any questions you may have otherwise. So moving swiftly on, we now come to our question and answer session, where we also have Roy as well has some questions that would be answered to, and Professor Arlt is also here ready to answer some of those. So if we move around, so we currently have Professor Arlt here on the line, and Roy will be joining us again back soon on the microphone. So if we look at some of the questions we have, yes, and let us make very clear, of course, that since we're suited to the America's time zone at the moment, if you have anything extra to ask in the USA, our COTRI country partner, Julia Gessner of Gailey Consult, is available to answer anything you help, and she will gladly answer if you have in touch with her. Otherwise, of course, we will be more than happy to provide slides and anything else to anyone who would like that from our webinar today. Okay, so I'm going to look at the questions now. We have a large amount here, so I believe I can pass this over to Professor Arlt, who has the list here.
Yeah, so again, Roy and Chris, thank you for your presentations. I think the first few questions we have are all concerned mostly with payments and the use of especially Alipay and other questions related to the social media stuff. So I think, Roy, you can maybe answer this first batch of questions. Roy?
He's muted himself.
Okay, so I think we have some problem with the mic here. Roy, are you there? No, it seems we lost him for the moment. So anyway, so what I can answer is so there has been a question.
Sorry.
Ah, okay. So
I just had an audio issue, but I'm back now. So I'm just going to look through the questions. I think a lot of them are about WeChat. So, sorry. Shall I answer some of the questions about WeChat?
Yes, please.
Okay. So Lina was asking if we deal directly with WeChat campaigns. Yes, we run the WeChat campaigns directly at consumers and also for travel agents. So we do both. We design and we come up with the creative ideas if we're asked to. So we definitely work on that. Alipay is a competitor app to WeChat. Alipay as an app, as a mobile app, also has a lot of travel and social and sharing functions. They're actually, well, they started as a payment-only application, but they're now developing a lot of functionality to help travelers as they go around the world traveling. So it's definitely another program another application that's worth paying attention to. WeChat is definitely winning on the social side, but in absolute terms right now, Alipay is much bigger as a payment platform. WeChat is really is really trying to get there, and it's introducing payment functions and integration. But for Europeans and American suppliers, integrating with either Alipay or WeChat requires that your bank that you're working with has an agreement in place and can basically make that happen. So every destination in every country is going to be different in terms of whether WeChat has agreement in place with the local banks. But they're definitely expanding internationally, and their aim is to reach countries all over the world. So you'll need to really focus on basically check locally, but we can also check that for you if you ask us. Looking at some other questions here.
Right, maybe I can add. So, for instance, our project partner in the Czech Republic.
We do design and develop the tools in WeChat, and we already have.
Oops. No, oh, sorry. Now Roy has some technical problems. Seems. Roy, are you back?
Yes, I'm back now. Sorry about that. We do have the ability to. We've developed several products on WeChat to connect with travel trade and with consumers. But in terms of, I know there were some questions about the cost of that. That's going to be something that is very custom designed and depends on how much you're advertising on WeChat or on other platforms. So I can't really give you a rough cost because it ultimately depends on your budget, and then we can tell you what you can do with that budget. For somebody like Visit Canada or European, their budget and what they spend is confidential, so we can't really tell that to you now, but we can definitely work with you and tell you what you can expect to reach based on your budget. Let's see. If you want to reach, we have a question about engagement on WeChat on a larger scale. Now, bear in mind that for most Western destinations and suppliers, their WeChat activity is relatively new, and they only have fans and followers in the thousands, maybe tens of thousands, whereas lots of big brands in China would have followers in the hundreds of thousands and millions. So the key is to really focus on the more influential followers and engagers people who engage with you who are very loyal and very active, and they will then get you more followers and a wider reach. So even people who don't follow you directly will be affected by seeing the content that is shared by their friends. A WeChat campaign, Lena's asking if a WeChat campaign it can be implemented in 1 month or 2 months. So it kind of depends on the creative that you're going to develop. And obviously you want to focus on particular seasonality. So in the months leading up to, say, October National Day holiday or before the summer holidays, make sure that you're doing it in the time that people are planning their travel. And we can advise on what the best timing is for that. But a typical campaign will need some time to create the creatives and the content. And then if you're including advertising, then bear in mind that the advertising on WeChat is based on a bidding, and you're bidding with other people to advertise in particular places and particular portals. And basically, depending on your budget, you'll basically know if you're going to be winning those bids or not. But WeChat has some analytic tool to help you with that. But as I mentioned earlier, it's a relatively new thing that they're doing in terms of advertising. The Weibo advertising platform is a lot more advanced in terms of development. And one last question I see here regarding Chinese clients paying. Yeah, I think I talked about European, basically going to Europe and paying with WeChat. You have to set that up, and you have to basically work through your bank or the local representative of WeChat and Tencent in the country. If you don't know who they are, again, contact us. We can help you connect with them. One question, which is a very good question, is can you make do with just having an official WeChat account and not a website? So there's a couple of things about that. First of all, to have an official WeChat account, you need to be, at the moment, officially only a Chinese entity with a Chinese business license. We do manage that for our clients, so you need to, if you work with a Chinese agency, that's still possible to do. It doesn't replace a website, mainly because you're limited in terms of the content and the number of pages and all the information that you want to basically have on offer. Now, in some cases, for maybe a company with not that many products or services, it could be enough, but WeChat account does not appear on the search engine, which is Baidu, the biggest search engine in China. There's a couple of other search engines, and they don't scroll, they don't basically search WeChat. So you still need to spend money to bring people to your account. So yes, you could do it if you have a way to bring people there, but if you want to find traffic, you still need to have a website that will drive people through your website to follow you on WeChat. So I think I've answered all the questions that were asked of us.
Okay, thank you very much, Roy. I think that was some very good clarifications. So maybe just to add from our side, so just give an example, as Roy said, for Alipay, this is different in different countries. So for instance, in the Czech Republic, our COTRI country partner in the Czech Republic is also representing Alipay, and there is an agreement with a bank so that within Prague, which is one of the destinations the Chinese have been discovering in the last years a lot, there is a possibility, and a lot of companies, a lot of shops, especially in Prague, have been taking up to accept Alipay. But this indeed depends on how many banks have which kind of agreements. So this is different nation to nation. So there was another, well, just a quick answer. There was another question which was simply, so the CTW online training Chris has been talking about, is this for free? So the bad news is it is not entirely for free. I think it's very competitive priced as a 188 euros, which is, I think, less than you pay for comparable trainings. But as it is also constantly updated, so somebody has to do this work and has to be paid for this work. So this is why it is not completely free. But what is free, this is a QR code you can see on your screen, is the demo. So if you don't have to buy the cat in the bag, you can have a look first and see if you think this is worthwhile in doing so. So maybe we're about to finish here, and of course, if there are some more questions which come to your mind after you have been thinking about what you heard today, drop a line by email either to Roy or to us. We would be happy also to continue to be at your service to answer your questions. And for the slides, if you want to have a download of the slides, again, drop us a line and we will send the slides to you. So for me, I think what remains to say is thank you all for attending. And when I look at this little statistic sign on the side, I see that we have most of you have been staying with us all the time, which makes us very happy. And if some of you have an opportunity to come next month from the 10th to the 12th of May to Shanghai and participate in ITB China, then we will also be exhibitors there, like Dragon Trail. So then you can have a chance also to meet the voices of today in the flesh. And certainly it's worthwhile to visit ITB China in Shanghai, May 10th to 12th. So with this, again, Roy, thanks a lot. Over to you in London, and Chris here.
Thank you.
And of course, most of all, for all the audience, for all of you, thank you for spending an hour of your life with us, and we hope it was useful for you. And speak again soon. We will continue to do webinars once in a while, and if you have any special topic you want us to talk about, again, share your thoughts with us. Thank you so much, and a good day for the people in the United States, a good evening for the people in Europe, and sweet dreams for the people in Asia. And with this, we end this webinar. Bye-bye.